Okay, let's go ahead and call the Millcreek Township General Authority meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any public comments on any of the agenda items? No? No comments? Okay. Moving on to approval of minutes from the meeting of June 11th of 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
So moved by Mr. Olet and seconded by Ms. Mitchell. Any discussion, changes, amendments? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
I vote yes, and those minutes are approved. Thank you. And agenda item number 5 is approval of bills. Ms. Page, any comment on any of the bills? Pretty standard, but
It's pretty standard. We had just written 3 checks since the last meeting. One for demolition, our streetlight assessment, and for appraisal services.
okay. Do I have a motion to approve the bills as
I'll make a
presented?
motion to.
So moved by Ms. Mitchell,
Second?
second by Ms. Clear. Any additional questions or discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
I vote yes, and those bills are approved. Item number 6 is demolition project phase 1. I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Waldiger to discuss change orders and partial payment approval. Mr. Waldiger?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm seeking approval for 2 items. One is change order number 3 from Empire Excavation and Demolition. This was for the actual pavement that was removed at the sandbar. They did a calculation of actual pavement removal, and it differed from the previous amount calculated by, the total was 11,370 square feet. It led to a difference of $1,905.47. So I'm seeking approval for that change order, as well as a reduction in the amount of money being retained for the sandbar. At their last invoicing, we had not given them credit for any of the pavement removal because it was still to be determined. Now that that has been done, I am asking to reduce the amount retained by the amount of $6,375. That will leave us with 10% on each of the properties being retained to ensure completion of the seeding, final seeding.
Okay.
And so I guess I should bottom line that. So today I'm seeking approval then for a payment to Empire in the total amount of $8,280.47.
Okay, and we need a motion to approve that change order?
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Olet,
Second.
second by Ms. Mitchell. All makes sense to me, but any other questions, comments on that? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay, that is approved for phase 1. Item number 7 is Presque Isle Gateway Development Finance Summary. Work order number 2 from Altair. Turn that over to you as well.
Thank you. At the request of some of the board members, Altair Consulting Group has provided the authority with work order number 2, which would be to provide development finance guidance and summary. Just quickly to go over the deliverables, there would be a summary made of economic development finance tools, which would then be presented to the board for discussion. Once some decisions or some considerations had been made, Altair will then perform a scenario analysis on up to 2 potential development scenarios so that it can compare the type of incentive that could be gained by the developers, what that could mean as far as tax revenue back to the township and other taxing bodies. This would anticipate to begin right away with the economic development tool summary being presented sometime late August, early September, and then the full scenario analysis sometime close to the end of the year. The fee for this service would be $22,500 to be paid in 8 monthly installments of $2,812.50. This is part of the not to exceed a contract amount that we have with Altair. It was included in the authority's 2024 budget, and so I would recommend engaging Altair for this work for the total amount of $22,500.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Waldinger, do I have a motion to approve work order number 2 with Altair?
I'll make a motion to approve work order number 2.
Okay, moved by Ms. Mitchell,
And I'll second.
second by Ms. Clear. Any additional questions, comments, or discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Okay, so Altair Consulting Group Work Order 2 is approved. Moving on to St. Jude Tree Removal Agreement. Mr. Waldinger again.
Yes, thank you. I was approached by Father Ross from St. Jude. We had a conversation a couple weeks ago, and during that conversation, he indicated that St. Jude and the parish would very much like to see the trees that were formerly behind the motel strip at the Bel Air removed, and so much so that they are willing to pay for their removal. And so they would like permission from the authority to enter onto authority property and have those trees removed. I did have a discussion with the solicitor, and I do believe Attorney Shaw has recommended that we have some sort of an agreement with the parish just to cover the authority, and so I'll let him speak on that.
Yeah, obviously, I think it makes sense to let St. Jude go ahead and take those trees down. I doubt that they'd ever be saved whenever the development occurs. Some of them are, half alive and half dead and so forth. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And if St. Jude is willing to do so, I think it makes sense to allow them to do so. But I think that we should have some sort of license access agreement that would, give them the clear authority to come onto the property, do the work they need to do, ensure that they leave it in a fashion that, is cleaned up and so forth, so that as well as make sure they have the appropriate liability insurance so that if anything happens, the authority is protected by that insurance. So I would recommend, approval of entering into such an agreement, subject to kind of a standard license access agreement that both Mr. Waldinger and St. Jude's would then execute.
Sounds good. Do we have would someone like to make a motion approving such?
I'll make a motion to approve. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you by Ms. Clear, and seconded by Ms. Mitchell. And again, that would be subject to review by Mr. Shaw and with the appropriate clauses to make sure we don't have any liability. Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Clear?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the communications section. I will start with the Treasurer report. Ms. Page.
Hi. Included in your packet was the 6-month statement of revenue and expenditures for the authority. And then prior to the meeting, I did hand out the balance sheet as of June 30th. So as of June 30th, we were showing a little over $310,000 in the checking account, and we did have almost $33,000 of accounts payable, primarily due to the shared services agreement for the last several months. On the revenue and expenditure side of things, as of June 30th, we had realized and recorded about 84% of our revenue for the year. That is $211,578.70. And on the expenditure side of things, we are right almost at 50% for half of the year. We had total expenditures of $343,472.93. Taking the line items and looking at them individually, we are looking good on every single one. The only thing that is showing really over is our public improvements, which is the demolition that we have, and we will be maxing that out at $250,000, and we're almost done. So therefore, that's why it's showing 89% expended at this point in time. Did anybody have any questions on anything?
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Any other
you.
questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the Executive Director report, Mr. Waldinger again.
Thank you very much. Yep, just wanted to give a few updates on a few things. The demolition project Phase 1, as I mentioned, we are still waiting on the required 70% grass vegetative coverage. There are a few spots that we've noticed in the interior of the properties that are bare. We don't know if maybe they got missed with some seeding or it washed away or something like that. I have spoken with the contractor. They are going to send a crew out there to reseed those areas. The areas that the seed did land and did take, they are growing very well. So hopefully with the reseeding and a couple days of good growing weather, we should be at a point where the project will be completely finished. One other item that has to do with Phase 1 was, I think the members were aware of some lawn damage that occurred when someone chose to drive their vehicle through the Joe Roots property. That has been rectified. The work was done to repair that, and I did appear in front of Judge Mikulski last week. The defendant in that case did choose to plead guilty to a lesser charge and provide restitution to the authority. So we're just waiting for the final disposition of that matter, but we should be made whole for those repairs. Moving on to demo Phase 2, been working with Mark and Lydia on bid documents. They have provided us with draft bid documents based on the final. We did sit down and go over those last week and do seem like they're fairly close to being ready to go. We're working now currently internally on some exhibits that need to be included with it. And then we would like to have the NPDES permit in hand before we place those documents out on the street. We anticipate that we should be able to advertise for the bids in early August. And my hope would be to be able to provide or to present the bids at the September meeting for hopeful award at that meeting if we can meet all of our timelines. We are currently in the process of finalizing a professional services agreement with Clio Consulting for review of the Grasshopper. They have a copy of that agreement in their hands. They're reviewing it. Hopefully it's acceptable to them and they'll sign it and then they can begin work. According to their agreement with us, they should have a report for us by mid-August that we would then send to the State Historic Preservation Office. And I believe that is all I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for our Executive Director? Comments? Nope. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the Solicitor's report, Mr. Shaw.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to what Matt said in terms of the bid Phase 2, we did pull those documents together and we used a lot of the addendum changes that were made in Phase 1 to reflect those changes as well in what would be the Phase 2. And as Matt pointed out, the NPDES permit, last time DEP made a kind of a last minute decision in terms of what would be needed for that. So we had already put the bids out and we're waiting for that to come in. So that's, we had to estimate quantities and so forth, but this time around, hopefully we'll have all of that in place and then it'll be up to the contractors to decide what quantities they think they'll need and so forth. So it limits the opportunity for, change orders if we're able to do it in that fashion. So I know that Gene Clement's been working on pulling that together and hopefully we'll have that shortly.
Sounds good, thank you. Any questions for our solicitor? Okay. Agenda item number 10, any citizens that would like to be heard? Nope.
Apologize, I missed the last meeting. I know you really missed it.
We always miss you, Dennis.
We encourage participation, so we're
Said we
happy.
did.
We're happy to have you.
Well, you said it, but did you really mean it? If I heard correctly, Matt said the Grasshopper, the alleged schoolhouse, isn't that like in the middle of everything? Oh, the proper, I know everyone was up. I grew up in a one-room schoolhouse, an old building. I
Could
know
you
it's old.
talk in? There you go, Dennis. Yeah, you're just so tall. I want to make sure people can hear you.
Oh, I thought I was echoing. I apologize. You're good. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate architecture and stuff, but to me, that's still a money pit. And if it really is as old as it is, it's got to be full of lead paint. it structurally has been compromised repeatedly. You can see the brickwork. I mean, why are we wasting time on it? And to me, if you're developing the whole area, why would you allow something to be in the middle of your redevelopment unless you plan on moving it at a small fortune? I think, I know you're doing your due diligence, but I don't think it's right to waste the money on that structure. I mean, I don't see any of those people here advocating for I mean, if they really wanted it, why didn't they buy it? Thanks.
Yep, thank you for your comments, we appreciate it. Okay, I don't believe we have any need for an executive session, correct? We're good? If not, then we are adjourned. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.